Are you ready for tonight's, this evening's, this afternoon's fellowship in a righteous manner? It's the Firm 365 24/7, and word around town is there's some misogynistic men out there, some controlling men out there. Some would say downright abusive. Oh, we're going to talk about it tonight. Live on Facebook and YouTube. You can watch us 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. Firm Podcast with your hosts, Flavius and Ulysses. And we're going to get into it tonight. The firm way, the solid way, the status of men in 2023 is too much misogyny going on around town. What do you have to say about it? Tell a friend. We're live right now. What up, world? It's the Firm. You already know what time it is. Saturday nights live. We get in on the good. Normally, we're here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but today we're going a little earlier. We're trying something new. We're trying to take advantage of the timeline, the time frame of Saturday night, so you can have your Saturday nights and we can get that Saturday evening. But nonetheless, we sit together at the table of fellowship. And that's exactly what we're here for tonight. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys tuned in tonight. We asking you to like and comment and share while we're live so we can share what's being talked about tonight and some of the gems and jewels that just seem to spill out when the fellowship is just right. You know what I mean? When we get to cooking in here, we need you to invite a friend. Tell somebody right now that we are live. Follow the page. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, make sure you follow that page, get in on this podcast and where we're headed. Also on Instagram, y'all already know, you know what I'm saying? We get a lot of promotional offers on Instagram. Promote us. You know what I'm saying? Go fish. You know what I mean? Throw us in your promotions and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Make something, shake something. Anyways, hit us up at the Firm 365 24/7. You can follow the link or you get the link right there on the page, you know what I'm saying, where it says contact us. Or you can follow it on the scroll footage on the bottom. And we do mean this. Instagram. We need them followers. But anyways, if you're on YouTube, as always, we appreciate you guys. We love what's happening over there, the views. We love how you guys are going back and viewing some of our old footage. We're getting ready to start some new stuff. We're gearing up for some new stuff. But when we do, you're going to be the first to know. You know what I mean? But as of right now, hit that subscribe button at the Firm 365 24/7. Somebody asked me the other day, how do I find your page if I want to look for it on YouTube? I said, you know that @ symbol that normally comes before you put Gmail or Yahoo or whatever? Well, I want you to put that, right? And I want you to act like we're the new Gmail, we're the new Yahoo, because we're really the new fellowship. So at that, put that @ symbol and then write out the Firm 365 24/7. It'll take you straight to our content and you can enjoy some of the wonderful shows that we've had in the past and get ready for what we got going in the future. If there's anything that we know and we show here, you can see it in the intro video. We do mark milestones. We do pay attention to the progress. The very first clip in the intro is our very first show, and it was not professional. It was not it was a representation of what we wanted to do and what we believed in, and we've come a long way because of you all. We're going even further. Ulysses, man, how you doing, brother? How you
What's
doing?
happening? What is going on, man? How is everybody doing today, this evening, tonight? Whenever you choose to watch this, but man, life is good, life is great. I echo everything that Flavia said. Also, don't forget to love this video, heart this
Oh yeah.
video, like this video, and share
All that.
this video, so that way people on your timeline can find out that we are live. And y'all, we have a crazy conversation tonight. We got a
Mm,
dope
mm.
subject matter.
We
You know
do.
what I'm saying?
Do.
So
Indeed.
before we get into all that, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
Okay.
God's been blessing.
Mm.
Things are happening.
Okay.
He's been doing some amazing things. You know, it's like one of those like where when you think about where you started and where you at,
Mm.
it's just like, man, I don't think
Like that.
just like that. Like, man, you know, like
I
it's
feel you. I
one of
feel
those
you.
type
It's
of
deep.
it's deep, bro. It is. It's deep, and
Mm-hmm.
y'all know I love deep,
Right.
but it's even deeper than that. So
Mm.
it's just like one of those like you can't even put into words. So you
Mm.
just say, man.
Woo.
So, but I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great, bro. It's the weekend, you know.
It is.
So, and yourself, man. How are you doing this fine evening?
Man, I can't be any better. You know what I mean? Things are going phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's sometimes when I'm dealing with a lot of things in life and you're juggling a whole lot, you can easily get overwhelmed if you allow yourself to be emotionally out of control. So what I realized, man, just getting older, it just kind of naturally happens. So that kind of gives you a assistance. And you got people that have been telling you all your life to be patient. You know what I mean? Keep your composure, control your emotions. You know what I'm saying, and things like that. But all the things that the wisdom that's poured in, I'm realizing the value of it in my, you know what I mean, as I'm out there in the world doing what I got to do, doing what we do, and just keeping that patience, keeping that composure is very important. You know what I mean? When you're trying to stay focused or live a driven um, life. You
Right,
know what I mean? I heard somebody call it a purpose-driven life, but outside of the book and the title and the cliche, really living that purpose-driven life, you gotta, you know, stay level-headed. I believe the Bible says one of the fruits is perseverance, and what's the right word? Is that it?
patience, long suffering. Which one is?
Don't long suffering for sure. Long suffering for sure. But all of those combined, man, begin to blossom the longer you in this journey. You know what I mean? This fellowship, this righteousness, this goal driven life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm learning the value of it. So man, I'm great. I'm good. You know, my life is in order as well as can be expected by anybody. You know what I mean? Nothing spectacular, but just out here maintaining like everybody else out there. Hope you guys are keeping a positive attitude. Hope you guys are keeping your hope alive. Hope you don't believe. You know, one thing I wanted to drop real quick too.
Oh, go
I
for it.
am slowly losing hope in the obstacles of my faith. I'm slowly losing hope in the obstacles to my faith. Like I used to believe a lot of things could prevent my faith from pushing through, man. And like, God is just taking me through one thing after another that I did not believe could happen or gave up hope in. And I'm seeing the other side of that thing. And it's like, I'm starting to give up of what God can't do. I'm starting to give up on what God can't allow us to get through and see and make it up the road a little ways to see, man. So I'm just busting through barriers. Hope you guys are doing the same. One of these topics, one of these points tonight is going to kind of encapsulate what we're saying here because the truth is there's a lot of dynamics when it comes to male and females. You know, a couple weeks ago we had a discussion about women and specifically, you know what I mean, misogynistic type women, which is not a common term. It's not a common concept. It's even hard for a conversation's sake, but we had it. So tonight, guess what we're gonna do? We're having another hard-hitting conversation, a little bit more close to home to the fellas, but we're gonna get it all out tonight. The conversation that we're having tonight is misogynistic men. Ulysses, man, we're going to get into it tonight. We're not going to save the men. We're going to embrace the men, and we're going to embrace the truth about men that fall in these categories. Because sometimes people get defensive, and when you get defensive, you close your ears off to things that you really need to be listening to. So with that being said, we're going to welcome you all to the F.I.R.M podcast.
Yes. Be released from that anger, resentment, and bitterness. You know, that's evident.
Our context on it, and it kind of changed the definition.
Convinced himself that he's sufficient for himself.
I love discipleship. Why I love mentoring.
The us and the us and them is ever growing.
Facebook posts, Instagram posts, is just another way of connecting with people.
Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another great conversation on F.I.R.M podcast. What up, world? This is the F.I.R.M. That's right. That's right. That's right. Come on in the room, man. Don't run. Don't run, fellas. You know
Don't run,
ladies. Come on in here and get comfortable. You know what I mean? There's some things that we can learn from, and when you learn, you grow. You know what I mean? And the more you grow, the more you know. And then the more you know, the more you show. And then at the end of it all, you know what I'm saying? Manifestation is what we're trying to get to. If you're trying to be a better person, this is the conversation for you. Ulysses, man, what are we talking about tonight, man? What's a misogynistic man?
A misogynistic man is not somebody who likes to massage you. Okay, let's throw that out. No, man. You know, I know kind of sounds.
Somebody asked me the other day, "Are you misogynistic?" I was like, "I am never gonna see no misogynist."
Yeah, like man, like
men ever put their hands on me.
I'm my own massage.
But that's not what that is.
No.
Oh.
No. I learned that the hard way because I was like, yeah, I'm a misogynistic man. Look. See,
yeah, I love massage.
They're like, no, that's not.
I love language.
That's not. that's not what that means. You know, like
me. It's not massaging me. It's misogyny.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah. I realized it was. I realized it was even spelled differently. You know what I'm saying? But misogynistic men.
Yeah.
Is on the table tonight. On the fellowship table tonight.
Okay.
We want to talk about it. We are not shy from this conversation because it's a conversation that needs to be had, especially with men leading the conversation, right? Usually it's them shows where it's a panel full of females talking about misogyny. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's we as men. You know what, y'all?
Got to start talking about what's going on in manhood.
We got to.
And who better to do it than those that have been invited by Christ to the new manhood? You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this manhood, man. We got some brothers that are not representing us well,
man. And
is that an understatement? No,
that is a fact, 100%. You know, you got men out there that make it difficult for good men.
Yeah,
that's just the bottom line to it. And you know, and you know, we had our turn with females misogynists last couple weeks back. So trust us, we're not going to be like, well, you know, a woman do it too. We're not going to do that here.
Yeah, we got that out of the way.
We already got that out the way. So we appreciate y'all's willingness. You know what I'm saying? To be like, hey, well, you know, women do that Say that for another show
Yeah.
down the street.
Women are safe on this one. Ladies, all we want to hear is about your experience with somebody that you believe may have been misogynistic. Because sometimes, you're dealing with a person that you think is misogynistic, but they may not be. Maybe it's something else. Misogyny isn't at the top of the list for some people. You know what I mean? Some people are, dealing with other types of levels of control. And that's really what we're really getting into when we're talking about misogyny in general. It falls under the scope, it falls under the umbrella of controlling. It's a method or an avenue, a way of controlling that many men seem to believe, I'm saying, won't get them caught up in the cancel culture.
That's
telling you.
true. Yeah, that's true. But now let me start off the conversation. Since you brought up the word control, right?
Okay.
Since you brought up the word control,
let's go there.
Can a controlling man be misogynistic, or are all misogynistic controlling men? If I worded that question right. Even the misogynistic men, are they controlling, or even if a man is controlling, is he considered misogynistic?
By default.
By default.
I would say no. Answer the question in the comment section, you guys. Do you believe that just because a misogynistic man is controlling, that a controlling man is misogynistic? That's the question. I'll give my take. I would say categorically no. You know what I mean? Even though it's a familiar feeling, there may be certain actions that are taking. I think that it has a lot to do with the it has a lot to do with the intent of the person's actions in controlling. I think that somebody can, you can control a child's every move and environment, where they go, the pace that they walk downstairs, the times that they eat. There's a control that in that category, the intent is for good, to take care, for caretaker, as opposed to somebody who is misogynistic. Their intent is more of a disdain for women. That's one of the things that we had discussed last time when we talked about misogyny. And at its core, the definition of misogyny means a prejudice against women. It's deeper. It's a strong prejudice. So I'm not controlling my children because I think all kids are terrible. I'm controlling them for their own safety, as a guardian. As opposed to me in a relationship as a misogynistic man, I'm controlling this person because I believe women, if you leave them alone, they'll, the cat's away, the mice will play, so to speak. Or if I'm not checking her phone all the time, then she's liable to slip into a conversation with, because women ain't smart, women ain't intelligent, they can't even how many times have you seen one of them skits or something where a dude looks at a conversation this woman is having with another guy, and she's saying that it's all innocent. And the man is like, yeah, but I know that's how it starts. You know what I'm saying? This is how it starts. All the hello, how you doing? Did you give me the assignment that I asked you for yesterday? Yeah, I know what assignments mean. You know what I'm saying? He sent you a text saying, hey, are you coming in today? Are you still calling in sick? What he worried about you, whether you sick? That I worry about whether you sick or not. You tell him if you sick, you call in sick. It'll be some type of conversation. Some misogynistic men will do it to family members. Why your brother always calling you all the time? Every time he come over here, y'all sitting right up under each other. But the intent is a prejudice, a dislike towards women to such a degree that your actions are motivated by a prejudice. Strong.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good. That's a very good distinction. I think when we're dealing with, it's kind of like, we talked about it before when a woman would call a man a narcissist, right?
Yeah.
Like because that word gets thrown around so easily these days. Like everybody's narcissistic, just because they have, and you said it earlier, a similar. There's something similar about what he's doing, so therefore he must be per se. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to identify and define what a misogynist is, and identify, as you said, the motive behind what they do. Like if a man's been hurt by a woman several times, you know, been cheated on, been hurt, or whatever the case is, then they develop that whole, well, every female's a dog. You know, like every female got issues. Every female. So the motive behind what they do is really the separation, whether somebody is just dealing with life and just that's just their behavior versus somebody who's intentional is the word.
Yeah.
Being whatever it is that they're being to somebody. Hateful, spiteful, abusive, mentally, physically, or whatever the case is. Like it's I mean, it is a thin line. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if there's anybody out there who's dealt with abusive men, you know,
they could probably tell you that it, you know, before it got to that point, they were feeling something. You know how they talk about woman's intuition and stuff like that, but it's really just the body's heightened sensitivity to identifying danger or threats. It usually doesn't start off with just somebody hitting somebody. It usually comes off with intimidation. You know, it's a person that you're in a relationship with that's telling you verbally that they love you, but their actions are showing that they hate you. This is a medical review by Vera Sarah Polly. It says misogyny isn't just hatred of women. It can also include aspects of prejudice, fear, and grandiosity. But it's really just this grandstanding. I'm the biggest thing in the room. I'm the biggest thing in the relationship. I'm the best thing about this whole situation. Or it could be fearful. You know, even there's a scripture in the Bible that says that some will be saved, you know, through grace, and then some by fear, because, you know, fear and damnation and stuff like that. So these motivating factors are the actions that a person is conveying, but it feels like hate. They're saying, no, don't leave me. I love you. I care about you. But all their actions seem to be purposeful in unraveling everything that you guys have been trying to join together. It's like you're almost counterintuitive to the success of the relationship because there's some deep-seated thing going on inside this man. And it's really that it could have been that he got scorned in the past or hurt, lost trust in a woman at some point, was talked down to or demeaned, you know, embarrassed by a woman. It could be a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But those experiences develop into a hatred. It says misogyny can look like many things. It can be blatant, like violence against women, or it can be less obvious, like subtle, perpetuating inequality between men and women. It's that conversation that always leaves you thinking, like, does this man think he's better than me, or does he think him as a man is better than all women? You know, when they say that stuff, like, come on, girl, don't do that. When a girl get angry or she get ready to get mad, it look like she getting ready to puff up at you or swing on you or something. You like, look, I don't do that. Don't do that. A woman shouldn't be fighting no man. I mean, I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? I don't fight no woman. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, why? Because you shouldn't. And because women are weaker. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't about to go to jail, put my hands on you. I know what I do to you.
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, like, and it's really like it's a very interesting thought process, because when you're dealing with somebody who grew up in an environment where they think that this is the right way to behave. We talk about it all the time where like you can have two people in a toxic relationship, and because they think it's normal, therefore because that's how they were raised, that's what they saw with their parents, or their mom or their dad jumping from relationship to relationship. They see, especially when, and generally when it comes to boys turning into men, that they see how what their father did. They see how it struck fear into females. They see the power. Like statistically, what you find in psychology is that men do things that are considered bad or evil because of the power that they feel. It gives them a sense of authority. It gives them a sense of eye control. It gives them a sense like I'm the man, and they feed off of that.
Yeah, some people do, man.
They do, and so it's like, man, like from whatever situation that they were in, to how they grew up and how they treat women, it's like that is their normal. They don't see any other way. And if somebody
a lot of times those ideologies get reinforced by people closest to them. Might be a dad, might be an uncle, might be just the man around them. Like, yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah, like
when I told her, I let her know. I don't play that. Yeah, you know me. I don't play that. You know what I'm saying?
And one of the worst things a man fears, is that they're the ones that's being played, right? That they're the ones that are being disrespected.
Yeah.
So they, like you said, the uncles and the fathers and the cousins, like, man, you gonna let her do that to you?
How big of a role? That's a good question. How big of a role do those role models play in affecting it, or kind of basically securing that mindset?
It does. It plays a huge role. Those folk I like to call the hype men. You know what I mean? Like, because they hype you up to the point where you're just like, you know what? I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna do it anyway because they telling me. And I ain't gonna. And not only do I not want to look like a punk. Not only do I want to look like a punk to them, from female to whatever the case is, but I also don't want to seem like a punk to my peers, to my cousins, to my homies, to my dad or whoever. It's a major pride. It becomes a pride issue at that point, because maybe they were told that's not how you treat a woman. That's not really how you're supposed to treat a woman. Well, it don't matter. Please, what you talking about?
What you talking about?
Because at the end of the day, the peer pressure that comes with being a man.
Yeah.
And y'all, we're not excusing. Don't think we're excusing behavior here
at all.
What we're trying to do is bring an understanding, or try to bring to an understanding of why men become misogynistic, why they become so spiteful, why they, again, no excuse for it. But this is part of the reason why they do what they do.
Why it sticks and stays in them. So, when something gets rooted in it or into you, a lot of times they use that metaphor and they say, we're just dealing with the symptoms or the visible part that you're seeing. It's only an indication of what you can't see. And it's really what's at the root of, or the core of an individual, that you're seeing this stuff too. And sometimes you can try to address a person being trustworthy. You can try to address a person not being verbally abusive. You could try to address all the symptoms of a misogynistic man. But at the end of the day, it'll always stay in there because you're not really getting to the root of it. And that's what we're trying to do is clear away some of the stumbling blocks to this cycle that a lot of men are caught up in. Trying to have successful relationships, but really tripping themselves up and securing their own demise or the end of their relationships. I do want to make this note. In the notes, it says the difference between misogynists and chauvinists, which is important. It says both concepts involve negative perceptions about women. Unlike behaviors of misogyny, however, chauvinism doesn't necessarily involve an underlying hatred or disgust for females. So you can be chauvinistic and not hate. Once again, we're talking about what the root is, the motives, the motivation. Chauvinism stems from a sense that males are superhero, or excuse me, pretty much superior to females, and a belief women are naturally weaker, less intelligent, and otherwise less able in some capability to compare to men. Some capacity they don't level up. Someone with chauvinistic beliefs may still enjoy being around women or may act protectively towards them out of the belief that they need someone to provide for them or somebody to protect them. So chauvinism doesn't even have to have the worst intent behind it. But when you're talking about misogyny, if you're not dealing with a person's hatred in a situation, then it's hard to really get down to the root of what you're dealing with. Because all you're dealing with at this point is behavioral issues and trying to have what's it called? Just behavioral correction, behavioral modification. And you can use that as a practice of principle. You can discipline yourself in modifying your behavior. But at the end of the day, if that hatred remains, all it's going to take is another trigger, another argument, another you didn't do, or you said it the wrong way, or you looked the wrong way, or look at the wrong person, and then it's that trigger kicks in, and that hatred comes in, and you just like, man, you same as every other woman. Or a man might be dealing with a woman and they get in an argument or they get some accusation has come that's familiar to their past when they initially at the genesis of the hatred of women. Now, years later, they're in an argument, something familiar is being said, and the man's verbalizes, says, man, I've been with somebody like you before. I've dealt with this before. I can't stand women like this. I hate when women do. Those are indications, those are symptoms. Those are indications that it might be some misogyny growing in your heart.
Growing. That's
a little corner of hatred up in there that, I believe needs to be dealt with, needs to be examined. Go ahead.
It's like, as you were talking, man, it's like another possible reason how men could be misogynists is also the church culture they grew up in.
Get into that.
Like the men are supposed to be the man and don't let a woman disrespect you. Don't let a woman cross the line. Don't, watch her tone, watch what she says, and don't allow. Because if you do allow, then you're not fit to be a real man. You're not fit to be a man that leads the church, because you're letting a woman run your house. So they have developed a prejudice against a woman even speaking up. They have developed a prejudice against a woman even arguing with you.
There's some extreme versions of that too out there.
It's crazy. But it is a reality that I have personally seen when it comes to church leaders per se.
Oh yeah, women are
pastors,
second rate.
that the woman says something, and because she said it around other people, they give that death stare, like,
Mm.
and then the woman just like, because in the whole other conversation is the woman has been taught that they better submit to whatever the case is, because that's what man has brought into the church, and they've taken scriptures out of context that would support their, because like in their minds they are not a misogynist,
Right.
they're not misogynistic, they're just obeying what the Bible.
Right. The Bible teaches
The
that a
Bible.
woman ought to know her place. Like what? Where's that scripture at? Right here in Deuteronomy chapter. It's they say it in a prophetic way, but what it basically means is, but
And they
you're
use
right though, man. I knew a church was a denomination that was firm on no women leadership, no women singing in the choir, no women teaching out the pulpit. All as a pivot off of the scripture that says, where Paul said he wouldn't suffer a woman to teach, that a woman should usurp authority over the church and everything like that. So they took these scriptures, ran with them, right? And it would be one thing if that was the example that went along with the doctrine. But the doctrine was women can't do this. But what I found out, because I knew a young lady in the church, was that her mother would get up early in the morning and she would go to the church and she would teach the kids Bible study, Sunday school. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought the women could teach. Man, they back there singing songs with the children. They back there preaching the Bible, teaching the Bible to the children. What is going on? And they was like, oh, well, it's just the children. It's just the Sunday school. It's just But that lets you see the classism in the doctrine. They're so dogmatic about a scripture that they're living it out of context.
so hypocritical.
You know what I mean? They living it out of context and making room for it because the men don't want to get up early, don't want to deal with kids. If anybody knows, kids tend to be the wildest in the morning. They have sleep, they barely listen. You got to tell them stuff 2-3 times. They never move fast. They in slow motion. But because the men didn't want to get up and deal with these kids for Sunday school, they would allow the woman this privilege to go teach them and sing with them. And I'm like, I guess the kids are lower than the women, and the women are lower than the men. So the women they're worthy to teach the children because they're at the bottom. I'm like, where's that in the body of Christ? Go ahead.
And it's crazy, man, because it's like that's why the worldview of certain parts of the Bible is misogynistic. Like how many? I mean, I've seen the arguments that the Bible, you can't trust them preachers because they want the woman to be quiet anyway. They tell the woman to shut up. They tell the woman that they ain't got no place.
Yeah.
Because of the misinterpretation. And these are like some prominent church folk who still hold on to these type of beliefs.
Right.
That a woman doesn't have their place. But whether and that teaching, that dogma has, whether they realize it or not, y'all, it's turned churchgoers to misogynistic men. It called men churchgoers to be misogynistic, to have
it's like a safe place almost. It's like amnesty. These are the same men dealing with different women, dealing with different people, and going through the same experiences. Men, you'd be surprised how many men in church hate women. I ain't saying how many men in church hate church women. I mean, just hate women. And women just happen to be in the church. And sometimes that Bible them scriptures out of context, or just the doctrine of the church, the theology of the church makes room for them to throw the stone and hide their hand, subjugate the woman and justify it. And that's a huge problem, man. It's the reason why a lot of churches, their membership is up and down. You know what I mean? Everybody's cool until everybody gets to know each other. Everybody's fine until you start trying to get too close. As long as we strangers in the church, we fellowship and having a good time. We get to knowing each other. All of a sudden, people start rubbing you wrong, and it's for with biblical excuse, but totally wrong practices.
And it's crazy, man, because it's like, and it's funny because women outnumber men in church anyway. You find yourself where, I mean, when I was a youth pastor, as an example, and I was in charge of the kindergarten all the way to high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had 1, 2, 3 men and like 11 or 12 females.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to teach kids.
Nobody wants to teach kids.
But
sorry to the teachers out there, but
yeah. I mean, if we're being honest about it, there's teachers who do have a passion for it, and praise God for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But in the church circles, no man wants to be able to teach kindergarten and first grade.
It's rare.
It's very rare. And trust me, I mean, I've sat there and tried to recruit men. Men, we need y'all. Men, the children need a manly influence in their lives, and you, my good sir, can provide that to them. Come join the youth ministry.
That's right, man. It takes a lot of patience. Go ahead.
It takes a lot of patience with kids. They really do. And it's not like men don't have patience.
Right.
But their prejudice of what a man should be doing, like this is a woman's position right here. The woman is supposed to go and teach the children. That's the woman's job, because that's my prejudice. That is kind of like the whole idea of a woman should be in the kitchen.
Well, that's we slipping into chauvinism.
Well, yeah, but it's also
you don't have to hate a woman to believe a woman should be in some traditional place. That
true, but you also develop a form of prejudice because of what in their minds, this is where a woman should be.
Prejudice. Y'all heard that? Go ahead. New word right here for our podcast.
Prejudice. You're being prejudiced of somebody because that's, if I'm prejudiced, it's because my mind is made up on how a person should be with their race, their color, why they act that way.
You think you're more superior.
Right. So
you think you better than me.
So
yes, ladies, men are out here and they do think they are better than you. Naturally, physically, and intellectually, spiritually, they believe they can teach you how to love. And if you don't believe me, just turn on your radio and listen to a Chris Brown song, listen to a Drake song, listen to a Trey Songz song, listen to a love song. I think even Bishop Eddie Long, no. Who was it? TD Jakes a little while back put out a some type of album or something for ladies.
We did, yeah.
Men, there are many men out there that believe they can teach a woman how to love. Look at great poets. A lot of them are the narrators of love stories that are being told century after century. But it's one thing to try to teach somebody something that is beneficial. It's a whole another thing for me to feel like I need to teach you because you're beneath me. That without my guidance, you will never get it. What you say?
We're going to forget about R. Kelly.
Exactly.
We're going to forget about.
Yeah, R. Kelly hated you. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, he has some deep seated feelings on the inside about um, women in general, their role in the world, and things like that. But speaking of R. Kelly, the difference between misogynists and sexists. Okay. Misogyny can be an extreme form of sexism. These two terms always aren't interchangeable, though. Misogyny is a dislike or contempt for or prejudice against women. A licensed marriage therapist, Roma Williams, says sexism is discrimination or prejudice against people who are of the opposite sex. It's just straight. You're a woman, you're the opposite sex, you're not on my level, just based on you being a woman. So sometimes we mix a misogynistic man or may misdiagnose misogyny with sexist. This man just really believes that uh, as far as human beings, the male side of the species is more dominant, better, greater um, in every way than the female side of the species. But either way, that's sexism. A woman is a woman, a man is a man, and that's just all it ever is ever gonna be. Misogyny is different. It's a hatred. It's a contempt. It's a dislike. That man don't like you, sis. That man don't like you, sister. Ladies out there, it's not that. Wasn't there a movie that said that he's just not that into you years ago? He just don't like you, but he I don't know what he won't go the other route and be
And
attracted to the same sex. Can't do that. So his only option is to
you
deal with you, and he's looking for the woman he can tolerate. I used to be like that. I was so bitter. I was so jaded of the sheer shock and disgust of what I was going through, what I had experienced in a relationship, that I walked away from that relationship running, not just from that woman, but from every woman that I could possibly run into. And my mindset and what was really growing in my heart was this hatred, this contempt, this dislike for women. I'm talking to God like, God, I never, question your judgment, but I don't. Was this a test? Is that what a woman is? Just to try you to see if you can make it. Is this what this is? And you'd have made us innately attracted to him. So I can't get away from this test, this trial. This is she a walking tribulation, Lord? Because that's how I feel.
a
You know what I'm saying?
walking
When it's all said and
tribulation.
done. Huh?
Jesus, it's a walking tribulation.
Is this a manifested trial right here that you got me attracted to? Because I don't like the law of attraction right now.
Oh,
But either way, it's beyond just that it's a woman. It is a prejudice. And I would get to the point where I was like, any problem in retrospect, looking back, I started to equate that it was a woman's fault. The woman allowed me too much freedom. The woman, I knew a woman back in the day that hated smoke in her house, and then today everybody's smoking in their house. It's a 15-year gap, but at the same time, people change over time. But it's what gets into your heart that travels with you over time.
man, and that's a very powerful thing, man, because and it's not for all men, right, per
Yeah.
se, but sometimes a man who can be misogynistic falls into the whole victim mentality.
Mm.
They fall into the whole it's always their fault.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like so some of these men, the reason why they can't move past it, the reason why they can't forgive, or the reason why they have this hatred is because not only is it a all woman, right? But it's all woman because I'm the victim.
Mm.
And I'm choosing to stay a victim no
Can a
matter what happens.
misogynistic man be a victim? Have a victim mentality?
I believe so.
Uh,
I believe, and the reason why I believe so is because it's so much easier to blame somebody else. Because anybody who is misogynistic and got the help, got the deliverance, got the whatever you want to call it, one of the things that they will tell you is, I had a victim mentality. I had a mindset that it was always their fault. The whole, like you see narcissistic, there's a lot of similar traits between narcissism and misogynistic. Right. Because it's never my fault. It is never my fault. Like, it is always their fault. The reason why their relationship would work out was because of her. The reason why I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't, whatever the case is. So therefore, like, I have a hatred for females because I refuse to see me or any part that I may play in the relationship. My hatred is, why did she leave me? I didn't do nothing to her. She left me, but I'm sure it was for somebody else. I know she was cheating on me. She had to be.
Had to be
because it was somebody else, or whatever excuse that they want to give for it. Because for some of these men, it is based off of a victim mentality.
That's so crazy. I was just thinking of the psychology of what you just said, that a man can't accept the fact he's so superior in his mind that he can't accept the fact that a woman just left him because he's terrible or he's trash. They'd rather accept that a man better than them took their woman.
That's deep.
Just think, no, man, you know how many layers of denial that is? Oh my God.
That's deep, but it's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's the reality of it, because so some of this hatred for females is made up. Think about that. It's the lack of trust, the lack of whatever you want to call it. So as you said earlier, like, she had to have left me for somebody else, because there ain't no way she gonna leave me because I know I'm not bad.
Yeah, her loss.
Like I had a conversation earlier where it was like,
your loss.
With my past relationships, I should say, one of them was upset that I'm the one that left.
Yeah.
So they created a whole hatred.
A whole new narrative. The author and finisher of my hate. Let me tell you the story of my hate.
Yeah. So
making stuff up.
So a lot of the stuff was, some of the stuff.
I remember one time, man, you told me a story about a girl who, like, you was trying to be a good man to, and she was going through your phone and she wasn't finding no text. She had this paranoia, I guess, that you was messing around or something, and was going through your phone, was finding nothing, no evidence of any, outlandish activity, no side chicks or nothing. And literally, instead of accepting the fact that there was no evidence, and that means you wasn't doing nothing, they said, you must be deleting it fast. Yeah. You must be getting to it before I get to it. And you just, I'm like, what? Oh, that's Crime Stoppers over here telling you hiding forensic files. You're incredible, brother.
Like I'm that good, like, trust me,
that quick.
I am not that good or that fast or that smart. Like, I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? but that's what misogynistic men do. Some of them fall into that. They fall into that whole category of, I am so good. Ain't no way you gonna leave me.
Right.
And the only reason why she left me, as we talked about earlier, without being a dead horse, is because something else must be going on, because it wasn't me.
Yeah, because she a bleep. I seen them text messages.
And so one relationship, then another relationship. Now it's like 3 or 4 relationships in, and it's always the same result. And so now that bitterness,
got the same narrative.
That bitterness is now like just settling on in. because it can't be me. Until God deals with them, until God gives them that revelation, until God softens their heart, for them to be like, man, you know what? I was pretty bad. I was pretty bad, but it's only going it's going to take God at the end of the day, obviously. But if they surround themselves with the right people to speak the truth into them and to help them to see in love, hey man, you know, you definitely played the victim card way too many times. Like, is there anything you could have done differently? Yeah, but stop.
Yeah,
Right
I could have seen how much of a snake she was back, because you know what I'm saying, there was some red flags. Because when I had told her to clean up, she looked at me like, "Who you talking to?" I should have known right then. She was hard headed. No.
No, and that's the reality.
Every time she go get me a gift for my birthday, man, I tell her what I want. I'm telling her months in advance. I'm dropping clues, and she go and get me what she want to give me, man. She don't listen. That's the problem. I don't know how long we gonna make it, bro. Because I'm, you know what I'm saying? Because you know how many women want me?
Come on.
Every time I go outside, it's a woman. I got to tell her, excuse, no woman, no lady.
Pump the brakes.
I am not a piece of meat. Calm down. All right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a walking thirst trap out here.
Oh, come on.
She don't know what she got. She don't appreciate all this.
She don't appreciate none of this stuff.
I'm about to be done with it, man. I've been looking at her sister. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just assume a misogynistic man is that greasy.
and they are. You know, because
you know
like,
because ain't nothing that they can't get. There ain't nothing that they can't do. Especially, I believe misogynistic men are very emotional men.
Oh, bro.
I think misogynistic men are incredibly emotional men, like overly emotional men.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Can you be in love with somebody or in a marriage or a relationship and be misogynistic in certain areas and not everything? Like, and the reason why I ask that is because a lot of times you see in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Everything is good. Everything's fine. And then something happens where, let's say that the wife or the partner, you know, does something to them that, you know, they're like, you know, whether they bring up the past, right? Or they have arguments that bring up the past. They say this and they say that. And so that anger that the man feels causes them, well, let me not say causes them, but it helps them to make that decision to go ahead and have an affair or whatever the case.
One of those, you didn't accuse me so many times, I might as well just do it.
Right. And so that anger, that hatred for that particular thing, can somebody be misogynistic in a certain area but not hate a woman? Can they hate what they do, be angry at what they do, and not at the actual? If you understand what I'm saying. I feel
like when it comes to misogyny, that it is for a misogynistic man is directly related to a woman. I feel like misogyny in one area is misogyny in any area. It's almost like a hose that's ready to bust. You know what I mean? Even though a hole might pop out, you plug up that hole, it's gonna sprout out somewhere else. You plug that one up, it's going, because it's the pressure is what you're not relieving. And so it's the hatred. As long as the hatred is not being relieved, it's just going to show up in different areas. It may be just this one area right now, but there's probably, if somebody could look, it might have popped up other areas. I believe that a misogynist person can change their ways, but sometimes when you're accepting or looking yourself in the mirror, you don't always look at every aspect at the same time. So you may have one area that stands out. Addressing that one area may help you discover other areas where you're not as visible or offensively misogynistic, but at the end of the day, the root is still the hatred. Once you walk away with that hatred, even a man who says, "All right, man, you accusing me and everything. I hate you. I feel this hate towards you. I'm about to just go do it." Then even the action of what they're doing with the next woman is birthed out of hate. That's why usually the woman that the man goes and messes with, they don't last with that person because it was never out of love in the first place. They were on the road of hate and met this person. Their intentions couldn't have been love, couldn't have been good. You know what I'm saying? So I just believe that it's the hatred. Once it gets in there for a woman, it's indiscriminate. Prejudice is indiscriminate. Some people are prejudiced against, they would say, like country black folks, but those same people who are prejudiced against country black folks will go to Alabama and see some country white folks and call them trailer trash or something. It's like the prejudice is to a class of people, and it is so deep seated it almost becomes indiscriminate in certain areas. It's no longer black; it's this class of people. I just associate black people with this class of people. But over here in Mississippi, Alabama, all these country places, these people are over here. I don't want to see these white folks either. But I think that it's the same thing when you go with a woman to say that a man is misogynistic in one area. The one area is the area of women. Now, what you do with women or against women, that's different. But like I said, what's the convince? Say I'm the woman, the man is over here getting accused of messing around. The man leaves and comes over here to get something. You're hollering at me, everything looks good. And then I give you something intimate. And then I find out that you was in a relationship, that you was using me to do something to hurt somebody else. At the end of the day, what in the world is going to convince me that this man isn't misogynistic? This was just a misogynistic man running from one person to another. But if you don't deal with that root issue, you know what I'm saying, then I think that you'll find that it'll bleed out in every area.
That's good. That's good. Because what in keeping with the analogy of the hose, it's like when you have a hose that is full of holes.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're dealing with this problem, and like as a kid, we used to try to put the finger on there,
Early
and
bird.
then something else will come on, and then the water will squirt out another area, and then next thing you know, you're trying to crank up the hose to keep it from, like you're trying everything you can to keep it from leaking,
right?
Instead of fixing the hose or changing out the hose, buying something, whatever the case is. So it's like a hatred for somebody's behavior takes that bitterness that you start growing in your heart, that anger that you start growing in your heart. And so it's like you're able to, as for someone like me, I used to be like, you know what? I know there's a moral switch and I can easily shut that off. I can easily shut that off because my anger towards this behavior has now turned to an anger towards other situations. Now my patience for other areas is not what it was. My patience, to deal with certain issues is no longer the same anymore because now I'm developing this hatred. So David says the general norm for men throughout history is that they're superior to women, but women have so much to offer, and the differences balance things out. Absolutely, that is the truth. And so the hatred that I have for a certain behavior now turns into a hatred in all other areas. because of how I have taken my feelings personal. My feelings is now in the forefront. I become so selfish in what I'm dealing with that I'm not even trying to heal. I'm trying now to do what makes me feel good. I'm trying to do what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And as Flavia said earlier, you are doing things out of a motive of bitterness and hate that when something doesn't work out, now it's a whole new layer of bitterness and anger and hate that is now happening. Because now you're blaming that situation, but now you're also blaming your relationship you in now for causing the problem. Like it's one layer after another, after another, after another. If as we said throughout the show and the comment section is flying in, if you're not willing to deal with your heart, if you're not willing to deal with what matters most, your heart, your peace of mind, your peace of mind and your ability to move forward, to forgive. Like we as men, if we are not careful, a hatred in one area can develop into hatreds and bitterness in multiple areas. Like I've dealt with many people who I've counseled, man, that will call me and come up to me and say, "Hey, I don't think I love my wife anymore." And it's like, okay, why? Well, because she disrespects me. And it makes me angry that she says this. It makes me angry that she says that.
Yeah.
And so what you said, man, is like God-given wisdom that's flowing out of Flavors right now. I hope y'all taking notes, because it's like
both of us, man, in the conversation and the comment section. I see.
Yeah, flowing in the spirit too, because they've come. Some men come to a place where they don't, quote unquote, feel love or whatever the case is, because they're developing, they're growing into being. Listen, y'all. Like based off of this conversation, I can admit that at one point in my life I was misogynistic for sure, because I hated some things that were happening. I was angry at some of the things that was taking place, that I allowed that hate and that bitterness to grow like bad weeds. Like when I'm at work and I'm dealing with the things, like I see these weeds, right, that stick to the walls, that stick to the meter cans. And bro, and it grows fast. So if we don't deal with these weeds at the root at the earliest possible time, then that hatred will grow and you will become misogynistic. And the thing about being misogynistic, and what we said it earlier in the show for me, is I won't even know it.
Man.
I won't even know it.
Unless you fellowship in a righteous manner. The one thing that I know is that there secretly, when that was happening to me, all of a sudden you listen, you know what I'm saying? A guy's guy, a man's man. You know what I mean? A bro's bro. All of a sudden he just started getting all these messages from the Lord about love. Love this. Love them that do you wrong. Love them that mean you harm. Love those that despitefully use you. Love those that make merchandise. So, they just want the money. Love, 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 love. And I was like, man, if you don't
get out of my
just
face.
love stuff, man. I would have loved no woman. Yes, I love God. I love my family and friends, but at the time, secretly, and I had to let it out. It was like so much of it that I had to tell the truth about what was going on inside me. And talking about healing, Amanda, you know what I mean? God is a mind regulator. He said, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ. He said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can serve as evidence, prove the good, perfect, and acceptable will. And a lot of times when your heart is saturated with hate, which is why I said misogynistic men are emotional, strongly emotional men. It's because love has a way of breaking into your emotional safety box and and cracking the code and letting your emotions out that you didn't want, because you have to expose a bit of yourself when you're falling in love. And sometimes that can, um, you want it to be good, but there's no guarantee that the love will be reciprocated or that the love won't be damaged in some way or some shape. But when it does, sometimes in trying to lock your heart back up from the world, you done locked in a little bit of hatred. And the Bible says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump, meaning just a little bit of something bad can spread over time. And some people are dealing with that hatred towards women that is spread. It's causing them to be in contradiction to the Bible and the true doctrine of the kingdom of God. It's causing them to sabotage their relationships with conversations when everybody is saying communication is key, but everything they saying sounds it feels like poison. It sounds like poison. It's not helping. So just remember when you start seeing these little symptoms pop out, they're indications that something has crept in. And if it's not the light, if it's not salt that seasons things, makes things better, then you need to examine what's coming out because blessing and cursing can't come out the same mouth. Love and hate can't come out the same mouth. You got to love something and hate something else. Um, but if God has not given you a reason, men, to hate women, then you need to re-examine your heart and get that hate up out of you. All right. Before the next haters ball, tell them that you ain't coming. That's all I got to say.
Not coming to the haters ball.
You ain't coming this year because you done got that hate up out your heart.
And
Now listen, y'all, I gotta go. We gotta go. You listen, you got any last words before we roll?
Hey, we're on the time crunch, y'all. I
Yeah.
know it was earlier than normal, but there's some things that had to be done, things that had to be taken care of. So we wanted to get this out the way early so we can handle the responsibilities that we've had in store. If you guys like this 6:00 Eastern Standard Time, y'all let us know. Then we will keep it. If not, then we'll push it back to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it because I got so much more on my night to go. As opposed to sometimes 9:00, we shutting it down. It's Saturday night.
Well, I mean, if the schedule permits, for sure. You know what I mean?
Y'all let us know in the comment section what y'all think. You know what I mean? We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to catch the biggest audience as we possibly can. Like you said, this week it's been just things going on. Saturdays, generally, as we have noticed, God is doing some great things in the lives of his people and our lives as well. Schedule is getting packed with different things. God is bringing new people into our lives. They want some of our time too. So we're just trying to navigate navigate the way we ought to be going. And keeping in mind not just the convenience of our time, but the convenience of you all. We know there's some people who got things to do Saturday nights. So maybe tonight was a better time for you. If it was, like you said, let us know. Either way, we're going to be back.
We got one
Nights live.
We got one like.
Okay. Well, Saturday Nights Live, we're going to be back anyways. We'll let you know if the consensus is the same. We might be back at 6, but we'll let you know ahead of time. Either way, look out for some content we're going to be dropping. I got something I'm about to shoot tonight. I'm thinking about going and skipping through the workplace tonight just because and posting that in the stores. See what that's like. But either way, man, the joy of the Lord is your strength. If you have the joy and if you have the Lord in your life, then you'll be stronger than you possibly may know today, tomorrow. And that's what being firm is all about. It's being solid, standing firm. what do we call them? The shield and buckler, buckled in the name of the righteous one himself. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, we got to get up out of here.
But make sure y'all tune in. Yeah, make sure y'all tune in next Saturday.
Okay.
For a time to be determined, apparently. But we'll go ahead and hop in the back office and discuss that. But listen, y'all, every Saturday night, Saturday evening, we will be here. We'll be live. Join us next weekend for an amazing conversation. If y'all thought this was deep, just wait till next week. We're going
deep.
Just wait till next week. It's going to be
just wait on it. No, let me know, please. We'll let y'all know early. Y'all can join in when you get the join ins. But blessings to everybody. Hope y'all have a great night. This is the F.I.R.M podcast with your hosts, Flavius and Ulysses. And we are out. Men, get your act together.
Get it together.
Be released from that anger, resentment, and bitterness. You know, that's evident.
Our context on it, and it kind of changed definition.
Convinced himself that he's sufficient for himself.
I love discipleship. Why I love mentoring.
The us and the us and them is ever growing.
Facebook posts, Instagram posts, just another way of connecting with people.
Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another great conversation of F.I.R.M podcast. What up, world? This is the F.I.R.M.
All I know is I'm hungry. Like, I'm starting this early. Oh man, like I want to eat some food. Who cooking tonight? Who cooking?
All right. Are you cooking tonight? Get up in the kitchen. And we're just talking about misogynistic men. So, brother, go cook your own food tonight. All right?
I want to order me some pizza.